League doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
What started as a routine interview with Caitlin Clark quickly turned into something no one in that arena, or watching at home, was prepared for. It was supposed to be simple, a few questions about her recent performances, her mindset going into the next stretch of games, and how she's been handling the intense spotlight that's followed her everywhere lately. The atmosphere felt controlled, almost predictable, with reporters asking standard questions and the crowd quietly listening. But then, something shifted. At first, it was subtle. People turning their heads, cameras moving off script, and whispers spreading across the room. Within seconds, that quiet buzz turned into full attention as a familiar figure stepped into view. It was Larry Bird. The energy instantly changed. The host hesitated, Caitlin looked surprised but composed, and before anyone could react, Bird stepped forward and took the microphone. In that moment, the entire arena went silent.
Is looking for you to say anything, and they're gonna splice it and cut it and make it a negative thing. And I think for her, the one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. You know, they flew private. That should be celebrated in its own right.
LeBron.
With the mic in his hand, Larry Bird paused for a moment, looking directly at Caitlin Clark. You could feel the tension and respect in the air. When he finally spoke, his voice carried weight. He didn't rush or try to impress, he simply spoke from experience. He talked about Caitlin's control of the game, her confidence under pressure, and the way she's already influencing basketball at such a young stage in her career. The crowd slowly began to react, building energy with every word. And then came the statement that changed everything. He said Caitlin Clark isn't just a rising star, she's the future of basketball. The arena erupted. Fans stood up, cameras flashed, and even the host looked completely stunned by what had just been said.
Sick of watching Caitlin getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast.
Boom.
Within minutes, this moment took over social media. Clips of Larry Bird grabbing the mic and speaking about Caitlin Clark spread everywhere, gaining millions of views almost instantly. Fans called it iconic, analysts called it powerful, and many described it as a historic moment in modern basketball. But beyond the hype, there was something deeper. When a legend like Larry Bird speaks, people listen, and what he said carried real meaning. It felt like a shift, like one era recognizing the arrival of another. For Caitlin, this wasn't just praise, it was a moment that could shape how she's seen moving forward. What makes this even more powerful is the fact that Larry Bird rarely steps into moments like this. He's not known for interrupting interviews or making unexpected appearances, which made this feel even more intentional. Over the years, Bird has seen countless players rise and fall, so when he chooses to speak, it carries serious weight. His words weren't just about one performance, they were about long-term impact. And for Caitlin Clark, that kind of recognition means everything. It shows that what she's doing isn't just exciting, it's meaningful for the future of the game. As the moment settled, it became clear that this wasn't just another interview, it was something much bigger. Caitlin Clark handled it with composure, but you could see the impact it had on her. Meanwhile, Larry Bird stepped back quietly, leaving behind a moment that would continue to grow long after it ended. This wasn't planned or scripted, it was real. And in today's world, where so much content feels staged, that authenticity is what behind the scenes, the reaction from the organization has been just as strong. People within the Indiana Fever are reportedly excited and energized by everything that's happening. Coaches, staff, and team members see this as a sign that they're building something special. Caitlin Clark's presence has already brought new attention to the team, and moments like this only increase that momentum. When a legend like Larry Bird shows that level of respect, it lifts the entire organization and strengthens belief in their direction. The fan reaction has been just as intense. Supporters of the Indiana Fever flooded social media with excitement, calling this the start of a new era. With Caitlin Clark leading the way, expectations are rising fast. Every game now feels bigger, every moment more important, and the spotlight continues to grow. Fans aren't just watching anymore, they're believing. And with the added support of a legend like Larry Bird, the momentum is impossible to ignore. Now, the biggest question isn't whether something special is happening, it's how far it can go. As the clip continued to spread, major sports media outlets couldn't ignore what had just happened. Analysts began discussing the moment across multiple shows, breaking down not only what Larry Bird said, but why he chose that exact moment to say it. Headlines started to frame it as a defining point in Caitlin Clark's career, suggesting that this could be remembered as the moment she fully arrived on the biggest stage. The conversation quickly shifted from, "Is she good?" to, "How great can she become?" With that kind of attention comes a new level of pressure. For Caitlin Clark, every performance moving forward will now be watched more closely than ever. Fans and critics alike will expect consistency, leadership, and continued growth. But this is where great players separate themselves. The ability to handle expectations, to perform under constant scrutiny, and to still elevate your game, that's what defines true greatness. And so far, Caitlin has shown that she's more than capable of embracing that challenge. Inside the locker room, moments like this can completely shift team chemistry in a positive way. Teammates of Caitlin Clark are likely feeling that surge of confidence, knowing they're part of something bigger than just a regular season. When outside recognition comes from someone like Larry Bird, it validates the work being done behind the scenes. It builds belief, not just in one player, but in the entire group. And that belief can turn into real results on the court. This moment didn't just affect one team, it sent a message across the entire league. Other players, coaches, and organizations are now paying even closer attention to what Caitlin Clark is doing. The spotlight on the game itself continues to grow, and moments like this help push women's basketball to a larger audience. When a figure like Larry Bird publicly supports a rising star, it elevates the conversation around the sport as a whole. Looking back, sports history is filled with moments where legends recognize the next generation, and those moments often mark the beginning of something special. This felt like one of those times. Larry Bird has been part of iconic basketball eras, and for him to acknowledge Caitlin Clark in such a public way places this moment in a much bigger historical context. It's not just about today, it's about what this could mean years from now. As the noise continues to grow, staying mentally focused becomes more important than ever. For Caitlin Clark, the challenge will be blocking out distractions and staying locked in on her game. Great players don't just thrive on attention, they manage it. They stay disciplined, focused, and committed to improvement no matter how big the spotlight gets. And if Caitlin continues on this path, there's no limit to what she can achieve. At the end of the day, this moment wasn't just surprising, it was meaningful. It brought together past greatness and future potential in a way that felt real and unforgettable. Larry Bird stepping in wasn't just a random act, it was a statement. And for Caitlin Clark, it may be remembered as one of the key moments in her journey. Now, the story continues, the expectations grow, and fans everywhere are watching closely. Because if this moment proved anything, it's that something special is just